3-day dietary log. These meals were tracked from April 9th to April 11th. There are many purposes for tracking what you eat. Some of them are weight loss, weight gain, tracking micronutrients, and you can also track your macronutrients with these. So on April 9th for lunch, I ate pretty late, around 3:24 p.m. This was my first meal of the day. I usually eat pretty late. I had 1 medium banana, 2 tablespoons of PB2. This is a dehydrated peanut butter. A Tuna Creations packet, which was the deli-style tuna salad, so that it could get some extra protein in there. And then for my drinks all day, not including water, I had a Poppy, which was about 12 ounces, and this just has some apple cider vinegar, which I like for gut health, and liquid IV for extra hydration. And then around 7:54 p.m. I had dinner. I had a green goddess salad, dressing on top of a salad. The salad was about 2 cups worth, and then 2 tablespoons of dressing to go with that. 1.1 cup of blueberries. Sriracha, I like a lot of sriracha on my pizza, so I had about 28 grams of sriracha on 2 servings of this DiGiorno pizza. So that would have been about half of a pizza. Oh, back to this. The reason I did have so much is because I saved up my calories all day so that I could have a lot of pizza at night. And then on April 10th, I again had breakfast very late. It was just chia seeds with water, about 1 tablespoon of chia seeds and in 8 ounces of water. And then I had a Poppy to go with that, again for gut health. And then around 6:08, I had my lunch, which was the Muscle Milk chocolate peanut butter. And this I like to have for extra protein throughout the day. And then around 9 p.m., my sister came into town, and so I was waiting for her to eat. So I got a chimichanga from the restaurant, and I did not finish all of it. I only had about 8/10 of that. It had ground beef, refried beans, cheese, and sauce, and I had part of a horchata that I bought. It was probably about half a cup of it, actually. And then on April 11th, for breakfast, I ate earlier than I usually do, which was 1:55 p.m. I had a sausage, egg, and cheese sandwich on a croissant. I did not eat the whole thing, so what I actually ate ended up being about 1 egg, 1 patty, half a croissant, and 1 slice of white cheddar cheese. The Thai tea with boba consisted of black tea, brown sugar, whole milk, and boba. And I did only drink about half a cup to a cup of that. And then for dinner, I had psyllium fiber because I've been working on my fiber intake and, to keep regular. I had the banana, a bone-in beef short ribs, about 80 grams of that. That does include the weight of the bones. And then it was just ribs and seasoning. I didn't have any dipping sauce for that. And I had baked scalloped potatoes, about 147 grams of that. So it's got like the seasoning, heavy cream, cheese, potatoes, all that good stuff. And so then breaking down the nutrients for my total carbs, breaking down the macronutrients on April 9th, the total carbs would have been about 174.2 grams. Total fat is 40.1 grams. Total protein, 55.7 grams. And this is relatively close to what my actual intake should be for all of these. So I'm going to say they're good, especially because I'm in a calorie deficit as I'm trying to lose weight. And then my micronutrients, these are where I could improve. My potassium was 1,014 milligrams. The iron was 4.02 milligrams. Calcium is 227.5 milligrams. Vitamin C is 36.6 milligrams. Vitamin A is 1.44 milligrams. And all of these are, besides the vitamin A, are less than what I should be getting daily of my nutrients. And so I do have to work on that, and that is consistent throughout the rest of these days. As you will see, my macronutrients for April 10th are, the carbs are 98.1 grams of what I ate. The fat is 63.6 grams. This is on the higher side, but it's still not over the daily recommended, so I think I'm still okay. And then the protein was 83.7 grams. And then the micronutrients was 718 milligrams. Calcium is 967.2 milligrams. Vitamin C is 36.6 milligrams. Iron is 4.79 milligrams. Vitamin A is 41.4 milligrams. Sorry, there we go. And then for April 11th, my total carbs were 91.5 grams. The total fat is 70.8 grams. Protein was 76.7 grams. And those are still in a relatively good range. They're not exactly balanced, but they're still in an appropriate range for like the percentage of each I should be eating per day. But the micronutrients are consistent with what happened before. They're not exactly in the good range, and some of them I didn't even have, like vitamin A today. So like calcium was 327.6 milligrams. Iron was 503 milligrams. Potassium was 355 milligrams. Alrighty, so my reflections. So the surprises that I came across while doing this project, which I didn't think would happen, was while it fluctuated from day to day, my daily protein still remained relatively high. I do often think about how much protein I am eating, especially when I am picking meals, so knowing that my intake is as high as it is interesting, because I did think I was falling a little flat on that. Gaps in my intake. I noticed that I do try to have a banana at least once a day when I eat to keep up that potassium, but when I don't, there is a dramatic change in my potassium intake, as that is a key source of potassium for me. I also noticed how what I am eating changed on the days that I had my sister in town, as we would usually chat, and she would pick what we were eating, which was often things that aren't usually in my diet. And so for 2 of these days, my sister was in town, and so that also affected what I was eating. So reflections, the balance in my diet was a little wonky. I try to eat well and make sure that I am getting all the correct vitamins and nutrients that I need, but I understand that sometimes I can fall short of that line, and that is something that I need to work on, as I have a tendency to focus on the intake of certain nutrients, and that causes me to disregard others, especially micronutrients. Plans for improvement. What I want to focus on is having a good intake of healthy fats, as those tend to lack in my diet, as my main focus is on protein intake. I can incorporate things like avocados or almond butter. I can also incorporate snacks within my diet that have these fats, such as walnuts. I understand the importance of potassium and protein in my diet, but I also want to start incorporating things that will increase my iron intake, as well, as I know people who struggle with anemia due to iron deficiency. This could be things such as nuts like cashews in order to keep my iron levels maintained. While I do prefer a protein-based diet, I want to start focusing on my diet being more well-rounded instead of hyper-focusing on what I believe to be the most important things, since all nutrients that my body require are as important as protein. Conclusion: this analysis has given me the opportunity to realize that I have a tendency to neglect the intake of certain nutrients, especially some of the micros, in order to raise my intake of certain macronutrients like protein and fiber. It's not that I have fully ignored them in my diet, but they tend to take a backseat in priority to things that I deem important, and that is something that I would like to work on in the future. Nutrition is important and something I take very seriously, and as I get older, I'm trying to monitor what I eat more and more. The body changes as it gets older, and what helps keep it healthy is being careful about what we put in our bodies. I plan to always try and remember that and to stop prioritizing certain things based on my belief in what is important when that can change day by day. Thank you. Thank you for listening.